Hello there, and welcome to yet another episode of my Car Mechanic 2021 series. We're on car number 2 of the Chrysler Dodge Plymouth DLC, and previous episode we worked on the Challenger, so now we get to work on the Dodge Charger, and we may or may not be changing much on the outside here paint-wise, but we'll see. We'll play around with it and see what we can come up with. Like I said, it's mostly there. Part conditions are kind of middling at best, but that's okay. We can make it whole again. Just like it rolled off the factory line. So let's get started. Okay. That. Good. So now the frame's all taken care of. Let's start popping body panels off. I love the well, people call it different things. Landau roof, cloth roof, vinyl roof. You know, this is what my 82 Oldsmobile had, except it was a kind of a garnet, like a purplish color. Almost a, not quite an amethyst, somewhere between amethyst and a garnet in terms of color. I mean, I think they made the cars look nice, but, well, call me old school. I wish they had more cars that had the cloth roofs on them in this game. They really don't. That's at 1%. Rid of the license plates because we're going to be replacing those completely. And yeah, let's go fix up some body parts. Alright. That should have got us most of the way there. Probably just the headlights, taillights, and the glass like usual. Didn't get fixed because they never... You don't fix those. You just usually just end up replacing them. Yep. Alright. Let's see if I hit the right button here. There we go. First door window. Second door window. Got a tail light. Ooh, first headlight. The other headlight. Another body window. One for the other side as well. Let's see, new windshield. The other tail light finally. And rear window. Good to go. Okay. Let's throw it back in assembly mode. Nothing like you back out more than a few feet from the car, it immediately just throws it out of assembly mode, and that can get annoying sometimes. But okay. Look at that. Oh, that's pretty. You need to get custom license plate for the back. Oh, just one. Let's see, there was actually a... oh, we might just go with the regular one. I had an idea for something, but I was like, nah, I don't know if I want to do it. There we go. Oh, what are we missing? Oh, I guess there was one for the front. Fuck me. Alright. Back here. Do it again. For some reason I didn't think there was one up front, but I guess I wasn't paying... Yeah, I wasn't paying attention because I did actually get rid of 2 of them earlier, didn't I? Oh boy. It's off to a good start, isn't it? There we go. For some reason I had in my head, even though I have it on video, that there's 2 of them. Apparently I only thought there was 1. Anyway. Now we're good. I think we might give it more of a... I don't know. Well, like I said, we may change this to a different color. What am I wanting to do here? Oh, right. Here, we need to mark all of this stuff and then ink it all out. Exhaust system is crunchy. Look at that. Ew. Actually, before we even do that, since we already marked everything, get rid of that. Head over to the interior shop and get all the stuff we need there. Okay, body frame and interior are all 100%. I'm thinking we almost might want to just skip the paint booth entirely, because I don't know if I want to fuck with this. It's already looking pretty good. Okay, so this is like just like the other one. It's only using one size of tire, which is good because that simplifies things slightly. We may just end up taking this one to the paint booth because I just want to see what the liveries were again. I know I kind of peeked at it off camera a little bit, but I just kind of want to go through the options. We're just going to go through this like normal. We'll take it to the paint booth, and then there's no guarantee we'll actually change anything, but still. let's fix up the rims. We're just gonna that. We're at 3 of those, so we can just keep the one for verification. And head over to the tire shop. Alright, so we're looking for a 235/60. Need 4. Let's verify. 235/60 R16, 235/60 R16. Alright. Good to go. Alright, let's get them balanced. These back on there. Alrighty. Take over to the paint booth. Like I said, I just want to look at some options here. If I don't like what I see, then we'll probably stick to what we got here, which is already looking pretty spiffy. I'm digging the stripes to kind of give it a little bit of a unique look. We haven't done stripes on the car in a while. Come back to it. Don't look half bad either. The banding on the back there, it looks like. Banding on the front, not so much. Let's see, that doesn't appeal to me either. Let's see. They don't let you do anything with the roof. That's probably for a good reason. Yeah, I think we're probably just gonna leave it as is. Good enough the way it is. Don't need to fuck with it. You need to get drive shaft off of here. Be all the encumbrances down there. Let's go ahead and get the oil while we're staring at the undercarriage. That sounded worse than it actually is. Alright. We'll get the rest of the fluids drained and then we'll pop the engine out. Get that restored and move on from there. Okay. Should be safe to take apart now. Alright, let's go get the cherry picker. Get this on its way. Front exhaust pipe. So we have to remove both of those? I just thought I removed the ones that were needed. Okay, fine. Whatever. Those are not in the way, but they're... Because you gotta remember, on the when I was doing the Challenger, I removed the flex pipes thinking I was good to go, and then I had to end up taking out pipes that were closer to the engine that should have been, included with the engine when we yanked it out, but they weren't. It seems kind of weird that they did that for like 2 cars in a row. I had to take out both sets of pipes. Right, so these 4 are going to get replaced with aftermarket equivalents. We'll get those ready so when we get the engine put back in, we'll have these already on hand and ready to drop in. Yeah. Looking good. I thought maybe I had it ass backwards on that first car. That's why I went after the pipes that were closest to the engine, thinking I was good to go. Well, game said otherwise. Got a little different design to the Hemi this time, or at least the air filter part of it. Huh. That was easy. Get her on the stand and start picking her apart, constructively, of course, rather destructively, to then later be constructive. See, that made sense to somebody. Another deadpan joke. Anywho, so what we're going to do here, in case this is your first time watching, We're going to take it all apart, keep the engine block and crankshaft, put those back on the stand. We rebuild the engine with all new parts with as many performance parts as we could find. Once we get it all nice and shiny and back together, throw it back in the car. We do the rest of the restoration so everything's 100% condition by the time we get to the point where we take it out on the speed track. Little added challenge there, because you could get these vehicles up to minimum viable and like basically do like quick flips and stuff like that, but I wanted to be a little bit more thorough with this YouTube series. And I'm not the only one that's doing it. It's nothing novel. It's just how I wanted to play. And the best part about these kind of games is there's more than one way to play. It's kind of like Minecraft in that way, that there's more than one way to play it, and they're all equally valid, more or less. Come on out, don't be shy. There you go. So if anybody asks, you know, like the old joke from, what was it, the Dodge commercials from back in the day, they had that one redneck guy and there was like, is that got a Hemi in it? This car? I said, yes. And this car had it before your jacked up bulldozer ever did. You don't know, if you're just that bored, go look it up. There was like a ad campaign for Dodge back in the day, and it had this like kind of redneck type fellow that was you know, jokingly, you know, poking fun at other people's vehicles. Basically kind of like a redneck equivalent of, you know, and that one meme that had to deal with, like, you know, with the VTEC kicks in, you'll see some shit or whatever. Yeah. Them kind of fanboys of the particular, you know, car or engine types. Leave me out here in the not so urban parts of Kansas. You get a lot of jacked up bulldozers of various types and sizes. Then again, most rather, are used for like either oil field work or farm work, so they're beefed up for a reason. So you see a lot of like F-350 dualies. You see a lot of them have a there's jacked up, and then there's like clown car, monster truck level jacked up. The only time you ever see those is usually some people from out of town, or some idiot who's got more money than brains that bought a big truck and they want to be up above everyone else, in both literal and figurative ways. But yeah, most of the ones you see out here, so a lot of them are heavy duty vehicles. they are using those to do their livelihood. And they're usually the ones that, not all of them by the way, but most of them, have all their equipment, you know, bolted to the back of it. We got a lot of oil field stuff out here, so you'll see guys with like these like massive winches and welding units, and they have like a portable generator strapped next to it because they have to be able to supply power to the damn thing no matter where they are. And that's gotta be some expensive shit, I'll tell you what. But then again, the kind of money those guys make, they can afford it. Those things are literally rolling, you know, offices for them. Alright. Work our way up the middle here, just like always. That crankshaft looks a little crunchy. Engine block doesn't look too bad. Should be able to save at least one or both, and even if we can't, we'll just buy new ones if we have to. We've all done with this assembly. Alright. We're just, like I said, we're just going to fix the engine block and the crankshaft. Looks like we're going to be able to save both. Just good. I do wish I could spray paint the engine block a different color, but that's okay. Well, that didn't help. At least I was able to still fix it. Sometimes you fuck up the repair like that, it trashes the part. Alrighty, there's the basis for our new engine. That looks so much better. Alright, before we do that, let's go over here, sell parts. Alright, we're going to rebuild this bad boy even better than it was from the factory. We're in assembly mode. Let's start buying or ordering parts. We'll get to the buying part here in a minute. Okay. Good. Don't want to forget the camshaft. It's E to zoom in, Q to zoom out, in case you're not familiar with the controls. I've been using this scroll wheel, but the Q and E does the trick. Okay, we're going to need 3 crankshaft bearing caps. We're going to need rod caps and piston rings in addition to all of that. Let's go shopping. Okay, there's our distributor. And our ignition coil. Fancy dancy fuel filter. First, got to get our aftermarket flywheel. And our camshaft. Even though it's the Hemi, this is really just their standard V8 with a little bit of tweaking to make it look right. Again, that's not a dig, that's just an observation. And you would think, this being a Hemi engine, that when we get to this last part here, And for those watching the previous episode, you know exactly what I'm about to talk about. One would assume that if this were a Hemi engine, it's a V8, that you would do what I did on the previous episode and pick this one. If you thought that way, you'd be wrong. I remember that much from when I recorded this. I don't think we have you yet. Nope, we don't. Okay, I'll get that on the next round. See, I picked those piston rings on the previous episode because it's basically the nearly identical engine to this one. And despite it being a Hemi, it does not use the Hemi piston ring. It uses the generic... Again, that's not a dig. That's just, like I said, one thing you gotta be careful when you assume, because of the name of the engine, that it uses parts with that name in it. It doesn't always do it. And that's not, or rather, that's not always the case. Gotta pay attention. Alright, let's order the next round. Clutch plate, oil pan, new engine heads, cam gear, and an oil filter. Oh, up, we almost forgot the rotor. Gotta be careful with that. Come on, there we go. So, got new engine head B. Engine head A. Okay. Cam gear. Standard part, standard part, standard part. There we go. This on first so we can write the engine. Alright. Oh, we forgot something. Forgot the rotor again. Get over here. Exhaust manifold, intake, distributor cap. Other, oh. Almost skipped right over the timing chain. And clutch pressure plate. And we've got our shiny new exhaust manifolds. Along with our big shiny intake manifold. Got a distributor cap, go along with everything. And got a clutch pressure plate. Actually, let's go grab one more thing. Not that. Helps if I spell it right. because I want to go ahead and get that mounted, and it's going to need clip type B on there. There we go. Drop the intake in, intake manifold in. Good. Let's have the pressure plate put on. Okay. Just verifying, looks good. We need 8 spark plugs. 16 valve push rods, carburetor, and timing cover. Look and make sure we got everything we can get for this round. Yep. Okay. Spark plugs, and it looks up carburetor. Everything else looks like a standard part. So clutch release bearing. Valve push rods. And a brand spanking new timing cover. Put all these push rods in before we do anything else. Maybe, if the game will let me. Come on. There you go. Like I said, the color of the engine block kind of washes out the ghosted image of the part. Okay, that's it on that round. We need rocker arms on both sides. I need a few things up here too, so it's a crankshaft pulley and a water pump. If we got anything else, doesn't look like it. Got anything that's performance? Doesn't look like it. 2 sets of rocker arms. Okay, there's our pulley. And a water pump. They're ready for head covers now. That's everything from that round. Excuse me. I know at least one of those is a performance part. So, head covers are standard, the brackets are standard, water pump pulley standard. Looks like just the air filter. Yep. Over here, grab everything else on our list, and we'll go on with our day. Drop that filter on. Here, take care of the brackets and the pulley. The next round of parts. Alright, looks like we're getting pretty close. Still need to put the belts on front though, so we're not quite done yet. Anything that's... yeah, those are... we got at least 2 of them that are performance, so we need to grab the alternator and power steering pump. Ignition wires. And the filter cover should be a standard part. It is. Come on, game. There we go. First of the belts. The other belt. And the radiator fan should be, I think, the last thing we have to get. A quick pass around, make sure we didn't miss anything. Grayed out. Cool. I think we're done. Doesn't she look pretty? Alright, let's get this off the stand. Neat. Alright, before we get to taking care of the rest of the engine compartment, there's a few other things I want to take care of. Mainly putting all of this back that we took out. We'll do the rest of the exhaust here in a bit. Wanted to do the parts that connected directly to the engine. Drive shaft, we're going to leave it off because we want to redo the rear suspension first. Alright. Set her back down close to the ground here so we can start rooting around the engine compartment. Okay. Start pulling stuff out. Nope, I said pulling stuff out, not putting stuff in. Anything else? Looks like it's clear except for this. Pulling stuff out. Come on, game. It's everything else out of there. Recondition the battery. Plug it in, count to 5. And done. Yeah, about what we expected. Brake servo, the battery, the radiator, and the fuse boxes, and that's about it. We're just going to mark the rest of this. Get rid of everything we don't want. Boom. I'm going to get the non-electronic stuff first. I'm going to head over to electronics, get the rest. The 4 relay type Bs. Relay type Cs. Fuse type C. 2 fuse type Bs. Relay type As. And 2 fuse type As. Drop the rest of this in there. Now, we get to start putting all the fluids back in. Nope, too quick. That is a weird angle. But sure. Alright. It's pretty much it for everything in the engine compartment. So we're going to take care of the rest of the exhaust and the fuel system, and then we'll focus on the suspension, and that'll be it, essentially. Except for, you know, the alignment, the dyno, and all the other stuff we normally do. Check the condition, 77% for parts, so A lot better than when we started. Grab those. Up here, we need to grab the fuel pump first and then the tank. Right. Again, fill everything. We're not going to bother fixing anything up. No point. Most of it's going to get replaced by aftermarket equivalents. So 2 middle mufflers, 8 resonators, 2 rear mufflers, it looks like. Yep. And fuel pump. Fuel tank is a standard part, so we'll go back over here. Grab that. And that is it in terms of the fuel system and exhaust. Doesn't usually take very long. Looks a hell of a lot better. Go ahead and get the tires off here, and then we'll get the suspension torn apart. That's pretty much all we have left to do on the car. Okay. Slowly work our way across here. Alright, let's get these bushings out of this cross member. I don't forget that later. Almost there. Come on, there we go. Come on. There you go. Gotta get the rest of this torn apart, and then we can start seeing what we can fix up. I'm hoping to be able to fix at least some of this, but I don't know. Given the condition, we may end up having to replace a lot of this. I think that's it. Alright, let's get those assemblies torn apart. See if we can recondition these brake discs. We only got 2 of them, so it's not going to take us that long. Okay, so kind of going into focus mode here, because I want to try to get many of these right as possible. While the puzzle itself's not hard, it is a little trickier when you're tired. To be honest, I'm surprised we're even getting this many parts out of it. Then again, the overall park condition when we started was not horrible, so that might have been a good sign after all. If it was like 15-20%, you know, by the time we got to the suspension, then yeah, I probably would have been maybe a little more worried. Okay, seemed like quite a few items we were able to fix up. Take a looky and see where we ended up. It's 2 pages of stuff at 100%. And that's as far as we got. Could be worse. A lot of it's the consumables, and that's to be expected. A lot of it's the stuff from the shock assemblies, which those never seem like they are fixable. So, yeah, we're going to work from here and mark everything. Mostly wear items on the car. Not that worried. Okay, let's go buy shit. Got ourselves a nice even dozen rubber bushings. 2 front end links. 4 small rubber bushings, most likely for the spring, or the leaf springs in the back. Couple of front springs. Outer tie rods. Front shock caps. 2 double wishbone shock absorbers. And looks like we need some inner tie rods. 2 rear shocks. 2 brand new hub bearings. Hubcaps. 1 big hunkin' sway bar. 2 brand new brake drums. And a couple of brake pads to round things out. Good to go. Let's get these assemblies thrown together and we'll get started. Alright, let's start with the rear suspension first and then work our way forward. I want to get that drive shaft put on. One game. There you go. Sometimes the real boss in video games is not the monsters. Camera. Just saying. Amazing, you let me put the tire on before I even put the leaf spring on, but okay. Let's go with that. Excuse me. Still burping up supper. Alright. Rest of this thrown together and we can work on the front suspension and literally roll this thing out of here. Like everything's there that should be there. Nice. Alright, let's get work on the front suspension, shall we? Shock assembly in there. All nice and snug. Okay, let's get this side finished up and then we'll be good to go. Almost there. I always go back and check. Okay, inventory is empty. Check the car. Car's at 100% part condition. We're good to go. Good job, everybody. Group effort. Group effort. Right, let's get you over to the alignment rack. Your lights and your wheels straightened out. Oh, pardon me. Close enough. Alright, good to go there. So now we're off to the fun part. Taking her over to the dyno. We're going to see how much this little lady can produce. Alright, so 375 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque from the factory. Already pretty impressive numbers. Let's see where we end up. Love that sound. .664 horsepower for a gain of 290 with 78% increase. 836 pound-feet of torque, so a gain of 357, so 75% increase there. Not bad. Maybe a little bit of tuning, this could definitely be something. Yeah, solid numbers. Alright, let's get you up front. We're gonna get some pictures. Get a good angle on that so people can see the detail on it. That's going to be the thumbnail of the video, which by the time this gets posted to YouTube, you'll have already seen. Perfect. That one's going on Discord. Well, she's an automatic too. I could hear all the you know, muscle car people, you know, going in the background. Yes, it's an automatic. Not a sin against nature to have a muscle car like this with anything other than a manual transmission. Just saying. Alright, so off to the speed track. Now, the Challenger did about, 140? I think? 135, 140? So, got my trusty controller here because I find it much easier to do these with that than versus trying to fumble around with the keyboard. Listen to that idle. I like it. Alright, let's go. Dropping the hammer. 110, 120, 130, 140, 150. 152, faster than the Challenger by about not quite 10 miles. And that's with an engine that doesn't have as much horsepower. But you look at the way everything's put together, hey, makes a difference. Alright, let's head back to the garage. I'm glad we finally got one that actually went above 140 there. Or saying things faster than electric cars that we did in that previous DLC. And that was a fun DLC. That was more fun than I thought it was going to be, but those cars were just hella slow compared to these. And that's a beautiful car. Okay, sorry, I keep saying that over and over again. Okay, let's go look at the numbers. So, bought it for $27,921. You can see the condition bonus, performance parts, body and parts values. You see how those factor into the equation. We were selling it for $92,778, or a profit of $64,857. So we did pretty good. We're still making pretty decent money on these cars. Just you're not going to see 300,000, 400,000 for it unless it's some special one-off low numbers matching. You know, there's all kinds of stuff they throw at this stuff to try to up the value on the real article versions of these cars versus the, you know, video game. Anyway, you ever watch Barrett Jackson stuff? They'll talk about that shit all day long. That's I used to watch that quite a bit, especially when I was younger. Seeing all the neat, you know, cars that people picked up, you know, running them through there, and yeah. Okay, so next up, in our next episode rather, is going to be the Dodge Viper GTS. The Dodge Viper. Yeah. Big honking engine and everything. Yeah, this one's going to be a fun episode, although I'm definitely going to change the color because this looks like freaking primer that's on here. Probably clean up a bit if I fixed up the handles, but we'll get to that in the next episode. That's going to be in position 1. Then we're doing Challenger, new Challenger, SRT Hellcat. This one I anticipate being a torquey sumbitch. As you can see by the supercharged monstrosity we got sitting there waiting for us in the engine compartment. That's going to be in Bay 2. Got ourselves here the Plymouth Roadrunner. This is another one I'm looking forward to. Yeah, it's in yeah. He's gonna need some work. We're gonna make her whole again. That's what we do. So position 2, because that's 3 episodes out. Yeah. May look ugly and rough right now, but man, we're gonna make her look like $1,000,000 by the time we get done. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean. Anyway, we need to pull a car from parking, so let's go up there and take a looky. Ah, yes. Another one that, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I want to do this one. You know, Plymouth Barracuda. And she's going to need to be cleaned, of course. Do that real quick. I'm sure you all have seen this in some racing games, and she's going to have absolutely no engine in her, so yeah, like I said, going to be an interesting situation with this, but like I say, you've seen this in plenty of games. Uh, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like you've seen, like in a lot of shooter games, they have the same kind of rifles and pistols, right? And they have certain ones that are in just about every single one of those. This car, in one form or another, is, especially if they have any vintage cars in them at all, you're going to have this or something similar to it in there. And you can see why. It's very pretty. Alright, let's get the interior cleaned. But you can already see now we're going to have a very powerful engine sitting there. Eventually. It's already got the notch in the hood and everything for it. Not exactly Mad Maxing it, but it's going to be... This one's going to be a wild one when we get to it. So yeah, that's going to be 4 episodes out. Is that Western Australia? Oh, that's an interesting license plate. I wonder if that's on purpose. We're just talking about Mad Max and Western Australia license plates on it. But anyway, we ain't got that many cars left to deal with here. Once we get these 4 done, we'll be down to these 2. Chrysler 300C, SRT 8, aka the poor man's Bentley, and the good old-fashioned 78 Chrysler Cordoba. Nice. Yep, we're steadily winding this down. And see you guys enjoying that content when we get to it. With that, I'm going to turn you guys loose. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Don't forget that little bell thing, you know, in case you want the alerts for any new videos or streams that come along. See y'all in the next video. Take care.